another fantastic day right here in the city of Sparks, Nevada. We have a great program lined up for you on this installment of Spotlight on Sparks. Stay tuned. Every commercial and residential structure in this city must be safe for workers, customers, and residents. How does the city make sure that buildings are safe and up to standards? Meet the man in charge of making sure that you're safe inside. Public safety is the #1 priority for the city of Sparks. And while most folks think of the police officers and firefighters who protect them, the City of Sparks Building and Safety Division also works hard to protect residents.
Yes, I'm definitely passionate about the safety portion of what we do for the building department. When a person walks into a building, they assume that the building they're walking into is safe and that they're not going to have to encounter any hazards within the building, and like electrical shock, that they can assume that if there's an emergency inside the building, that there's going to be adequate exiting for them to egress the building safely. So as part of that, we're making sure that people that are coming to the city of Sparks, whether it's the citizens or the visitors, that the built environment is safe.
The Sparks Building and Safety Division has several responsibilities to ensure the structural safety and building code compliance of all commercial and residential property. The city will not sign off on any project until everything is up to proper safety and operational standards. So how are building projects evaluated and inspected? And what are building inspectors looking for?
Anything that's being built in the city of Sparks, we regulate. So the first process with the permitting process is to provide plans to the Sparks Building and Safety Division, which we review for compliance with the codes. And then off of those plans, the inspectors go out and we inspect the structural components of a building, such as the roof, the walls, the foundation. Then we also inspect the electrical systems, which includes lights, electrical service, switches, receptacles, and all those components are looked at for life safety. We also inspect the plumbing systems for the plumbing piping, water, the drain pipes, and any kind of drains, faucets, any kind of a plumbing fixture. Then we also look at the mechanical system, which includes the air conditioning systems in a building, which includes the mechanical units themselves, the ductwork that distributes the air, and any kind of return features of the mechanical system.
Sometimes a project doesn't pass inspection.
When they do the inspection writes what's known as a correction notice. The correction notice has the things that need to be fixed on a project. So he'll hand over the correction notice to the permit holder. They'll make sure items get corrected, and then they'll call back in for a reinspection of those items that need to be corrected.
While most construction projects are fairly straightforward, sometimes city inspectors get to think outside of the box.
We really do a wide variety of inspections on a lot of different projects. One of them would be the new IMAX theater that's just recently been built in Sparks. That isn't your typical building warehouse. So it's in that aspect, it's interesting because we have a really high volume of people that will be in a building at once. And so we have to make sure that the people can exit properly out of there in case of an emergency. At Wild Island Water Park, we do inspect the structures and the slides themselves, and they submit plans to us. We take a look at those plans and look at the structural integrity of the large stairs that climb up to the slides. We also look at the connection of the slides to those structures.
Many Sparks homeowners want to make improvements to their homes, and Miranda and his team have some valuable advice to consider when thinking about doing any home improvement project in the city of Sparks.
If you're going to do any kind of a small project on your house, such as change out your water heater or convert your garage into office space, you really, before you open your toolbox, you need to ask yourself a question. Do I need a permit? Because permits are required for many of those small construction projects that you do around the house.
Sparks building inspectors play a vital role behind the scenes to ensure a high quality of life in our city. For more information, log on to the city's website or call 353-5555. Spotlight on Sparks recently sat down with Lieutenant Governor Mark Hutchison of the great state of Nevada, talked about an array of issues and all the exciting things that are happening right here in northern Nevada. Here's what he had to say.
The role of the Lieutenant Governor is to serve as a member of the executive branch of government. When you think about the judiciary and the legislative branch, and I serve in the executive branch of government, but I also have one foot in the legislative branch. So I serve as the Lieutenant Governor in the executive branch, but I'm also the President of the State Senate. And so it's a very unique position that way, where you have responsibilities and duties in the executive branch of government as well as in the legislative branch of government. And so during the course of the legislature, I will preside over all the floor sessions in the State Senate and direct the proceedings there in the Senate and the arguments and the votes that occur in the Senate. And then I'm also the chairman of the Nevada Commission on Tourism. And as you know, Adam, tourism continues to be the #1 industry in the state of Nevada. Many jobs depend upon that industry. And I love spending time on tourism and strengthening tourism, both in the urban areas, but also in the rural areas. One of the real focuses for the Nevada Commission on Tourism is rural tourism and increasing that. I also serve as the vice chairman of the Board of Transportation. So all things related to Nevada Department of Transportation and the projects that happen there and the policy that's being set is what occurs at that board. And I'm also a member of the Board of Economic Development, which statewide is charged with bringing in new businesses to the state of Nevada, diversifying our economy, expanding existing businesses in the state of Nevada, and really doing all we can to create jobs. And then recently I became a member of the Commission on Homeland Security, which is the commission that is charged with implementing policy and funding priorities for anti-terrorism programs here in the state of Nevada. First, I think that local governments are the best place for so much to happen because they're closest to the people. And that's where I think the founding fathers of this country intended most government to occur, is at the closest level of the people, local governments, in the cities, in the school districts. And that's where good policy is made, and I think that's where, when we are at our best as government, much of what we do in government occurs. And so I interact on a regular basis with local government officials. For example, in economic development, I have gone all over the state and worked with local leaders, local government leaders, but also local business leaders who, in connection with their local governments, create the policies and create the programs and set the priorities for the economic developments within each of those communities. So I've worked closely with local governments that way, and it's an important way for us to interact with state and local agencies. The question was first surfaced in terms of the economic incentives and the tax incentives to get Tesla here to northern Nevada. So I was involved in the legislative process with Tesla. Continue to be involved in the executive branch of government with Tesla as Lieutenant Governor. And so, that's the biggest economic development and the biggest issue and the biggest business opportunities that we have in Sparks in a very, very long time. And it has really, as you well know, in Sparks, just created a real synergy, a real sort of ecosystem that now we've got advanced manufacturing in Sparks. We've got an advanced manufacturing so close to the workforce there that we're going to see workforce development emphasized in Sparks and northern Nevada in a major way, where we're going to train now the next generation of workers to be not only in Tesla but in these other advanced manufacturing facilities. The other thing I would say about Sparks and northern Nevada is it's got a real entrepreneurial community here. Probably more so than anywhere else in the state that I've seen. Sparks, Reno, northern Nevada have this entrepreneurial spirit, these startup companies. You hear about Startup Row, you hear about the Innovation Center, you hear about what's going on at UNR with all this entrepreneurial energy. And I think Sparks has got a very bright future as we really emphasize more and more entrepreneurship and startup companies in northern Nevada. Transportation is a vital part of what we do in government. It's one of the fundamental things that we have got to be sure that we are getting people to and from where they want to go in a very efficient manner. And so we have undertaken as a state just tremendous projects now, really simultaneously in transportation, not only down south but up north. The biggest one we have right now is the construction of USA Parkway, and that's going to connect really, I-80 right at Sparks. That will take it all the way down through to Highway 50, and will provide that corridor now, a transportation corridor now, which I think will increase business and economic development in Sparks that hasn't been there before because of the transportation issues. And we're also looking at larger scale transportation issues when it comes to the new economy and the new modes of transportation. In this last legislative session, as you know, there was a lot of discussion about the on-demand transportation companies like Uber and like Lyft. The legislature has addressed those issues and will continue to address those issues as we see those companies come into the state. There's a lot of policy issues that need to be worked out, but that's the next generation of transportation that is going to come not only to Sparks but throughout Nevada. We're also continuing to work as NDOT seeks to improve the road conditions and seeks to improve the accessibility for residents of Sparks throughout northern Nevada. I am the product of Nevada Public Schools. I went from elementary school to middle school, we used to call it junior high school then, to high school, and then through college, all the way through the public school system here in Nevada. Every one of my children have done the same thing, and I'm through and through a public education product. I then went to law school at Brigham Young University, and have been practicing law for 25 years, and have my own law practice, and have had that practice for about 20 years. And so I get up in the morning and wonder where my next client's coming from, and are we gonna be able to make payroll? And so I appreciate small business owners and what they go through in finding customers and making a payroll and providing jobs for our fellow Nevadans, and I love it. I've got 6 children and 4 grandchildren. So my grandchildren now are 5th generation Nevadans. And I am married to the greatest woman that has ever walked the face of the earth. She puts up with me and puts up with my challenging life and does it with a smile, and has been a companion and a partner and a sweetheart of mine for over 30 years of marriage, and could not be in love with anybody more than my wife and my family. So first and foremost, I'm a husband and a father, and then I'm a public servant and somebody who loves Nevada.
You know, if I told you to go take a ride in a concrete canoe, you'd probably think I was insulting you. But that's not the case with these University of Nevada students who participate in a competition put on by the American Society of Civil Engineers. Take a look at this. Engineers are tasked with solving all kinds of problems, but can they make concrete float? Well, you bet, and that's just what engineer students did in the annual American Society of Civil Engineers concrete canoe races at the beautiful Sparks Marina.
It's amazing, what you can do to get it to float.
Concrete canoe is a year-long competition where we have to do various aspects like mixed design and construction, and we have to essentially make something that's not supposed to float.
Club teams from 15 area universities recently competed in the Mid-Pacific Conference events, and the overall title went to the University of Nevada. Nevada engineering students will take this year's canoe, nicknamed Zephyr, to the national competition for the 11th straight year. But don't try this at home. Zephyr is the latest product of years of applied engineering and trial and error.
So it's a lot of extensive testing and different mixes to try and get the right ratio to make the boat actually float in the water.
So we have a very lightweight concrete. We have a lot of aggregates in it. Some teams use foam, other teams use little glass particles, so that helps keep the weight of the concrete down. The teams are not allowed to try the canoes out before the competition, so they have to believe the science is right.
We do really extensive testing on our concrete cylinders to make sure those will float, and then once we come up with the mix, then we actually construct the canoe. And we actually don't bring it out until this is the first day that the boat's been in the water, so we don't know if it floats until we get here on race day.
The Sparks Marina hosts many diverse events throughout the year, and the city is always working to bring more exciting and unique events to the one-of-a-kind venue. The Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility is a joint-owned facility by the cities of Sparks and Reno and operated by the city of Sparks. Recently, the facility unveiled a new generator that's capable of producing 35% of the plant's energy needs by turning methane gas, a byproduct of the sewer treatment process, into electricity. Take a look. Sparks residents will save money on energy in the future following the installation of a new cogeneration engine at the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility. that turns methane gas into electricity that the plant can use.
While we may be two cities, Tum Wharf brings Sparks and Reno together as one to serve the needs of our residents. Tum Wharf is a true representation of local governments working cooperatively together to meet the needs of our residents. So this is a great facility. It's something that we need to have. You know, we can't function without it. So it's good to be to celebrate something like we're going to be the generation which saves us lots and lots of money, and there's more to come.
Built in 1966, the facility processes 28 million gallons of water every day for Sparks, Reno, Sun Valley, and other parts of Washoe County.
About 3 years ago, we started an energy services project, and we address a number of different issues at the plant. Electrical consumption was one, chemical usage was another area we looked at, and one of the things that came forward was we should beneficially reuse the gas that was being produced anyway here at the plant.
The technology here is dated and due for modernization to make the water treatment plant more efficient and environmentally friendly.
So through a concerted team effort, we put a lot of work into this facility, and we were able to bring the daily average discharge of treated water in the Truckee River to 408 pounds per day. That's a reduction of almost 25% in the nitrogen that's going back into the river. That's a really big deal. And again, not just because the feds or the state are watching, but because it's good for the river, it's good for the wildlife, it's good for all of us together.
When complete, the $24.9 million project is projected to save taxpayers $1.1 million a year in operating costs. Some of the changes are simple, like swapping out old lights for newer, energy-efficient LEDs for an immediate savings. Other projects are more complex. Improvements, including replacing aging pipes and pumps.
So we use that electricity. We're not buying electricity from the grid. It's money not to our pocket, but to the citizens' pocket. It helps defer rate increases, keeps sewer rates lower.
But the biggest change of all is equipping the plant to harvest phosphorus and methane, both natural byproducts of the water treatment process. Phosphorus will be used to make fertilizer. The methane gas will turn turbines used to generate electricity. That energy will in turn be used to run the facility and save the plant from buying all of its power. The methane project is particularly important as electricity makes up 20% of the reclamation plant's operating costs. Previously, both the methane and the phosphorus were released. Now these byproducts will become a benefit to the facility while also protecting the environment. One of the most anticipated and beneficial road projects in the city of Sparks is now underway. The McCarran Pyramid Intersection project will expand the intersection and enhance safety for the several thousand cars that travel through the intersection every day. The project will take nearly 2 years, and in the meantime, we ask all our motorists to be patient. Here's how it will impact our residents. With a simple shovel ceremony, construction began April 2016. Yet the engineering and effort of getting to this day were far from simple. The Regional Transportation Commission and the City of Sparks have worked closely on this project to transform one of the city's busiest intersections into one of the city's best.
This is the intersection of two roadways that are on the National Highway System. High volume roads, roads critical to economic development, roads critical to moving people to jobs, educational opportunities. But at the same time, this is a road that's in a very well established neighborhood. Lots of neighborhood services on all corners. We have a church, we have a neighborhood shopping center across the street. We have homes. People walk, people bike, people do come out and enjoy the outdoors. And so this project is significant because we're not just looking at the movement of cars, we're looking at the movement of people. We want to keep people safe.
Some 60,000 cars a day travel this corner. Pyramid Way will get one new travel lane in each direction, designed to ease traffic. But it's waiting on the turn lights that really stack the cars up at rush hour. So now, thanks to this project, both Pyramid and McCarran will soon be striped with dedicated turn-only lanes. The project will add new sidewalks for pedestrians and a paved multi-use path that will parallel Pyramid's eastern side. A series of public meetings gathered public input on the project and led to several design choices. In addition to trees and plants, decorative privacy screens were chosen by the community.
Thank you. That's what it takes, is the neighborhoods, the people, the citizens to give us their input. It is so hard many times to get people just to come forth and tell us what's on their mind.
I think it's going to be a beautiful project. What I really like is the way the treatment is on the inside of the sound walls for our neighborhoods. I like the idea that we have walkability from our neighborhoods to the shopping over here. And I like the idea that we are now moving people through the area at an easier pace and hopefully safer in the long run.
The intersection improvements will also carry over to the Pyramid and Queenway. That intersection will be reconfigured, also for improved safety. Drivers should expect delays and road closures during construction, which should be complete in about 24 months.
Well, you know, in 2005 when I ran on 3 transportation issues: Vista Boulevard, which has been taken care of, Pyramid McCarran, which we're working on now, and the Southeast Connector, which will be known as Veterans Parkway. All vital transportation routes for people. It'll alleviate traffic. The headache is getting them built. Once they're built, they're going to love them, and of course we got the bridge too, the bridge over the Truckee River. These are needed, and we went forward and did them, and we did our workshops, and we did the reach out to the folks. This is a big deal for us.
To learn more about the project and sign up for project updates, visit the project's own website, pyramidmccarran.com. Sparks Mayor Geno Martini recently delivered his annual State of the City address and highlighted a very optimistic 2016 and beyond. There are a lot of things happening in the city of Sparks, and the city has finally begun some recovery from the Great Recession. Here's what the mayor had to say. Mayor Geno Martini's 11th State of the City address reflected the optimism of city officials for 2016 and the next decade. Like every city in America, Sparks endured some hard times during the Great Recession. But new optimism, new businesses, and new residential development show that Sparks is ready for some good times.
This city is preparing for growth. Our planners and engineers are working with the Truckee Meadows Planning Agency, local legislative bodies, business entities, and individuals to ensure that smart growth will carry our city into the future. Sparks is committed to resisting the temptation to grow for growth's sake.
Today, Sparks is looking forward to projected area growth and is preparing for those challenges with new transportation projects like the Pyramid McCarran improvements and the Southeast Connector. Mayor Martini also stressed that even in the worst of economic times, the city still moved forward with vital infrastructure projects such as the North Truckee Drain, which is a vital component to the Regional Flood Control Project, and we continue that work today.
I'm very pleased we have completed the first 2 phases. 8 years ago, Sparks enacted a fee on its residents and businesses to support its share of the flood project. To date, the city has invested $25 million on the North Truckee Drain realignment project, which will direct the drain further downstream into the Truckee River east of Vista Boulevard and Sparks. This critical realignment of the drain will reduce and minimize flooding to the Sparks industrial area.
A lifelong resident of Sparks was happy to provide updates on the revitalization of Victorian Square, where 3 new highly anticipated projects will provide business opportunities and trendy urban loft-style apartments, as well as new residential development projects, which nearly doubled from 2014 to 2015. Sparks is the city best situated to take advantage of the economic benefits from the Reno Tahoe Industrial Center, home to Tesla, among other companies relocating to the area.
The huge 107,000-acre, 160-square-mile TRI industrial complex lies a mere 9 miles from Sparks. All roads leading from northwestern Nevada to TRI take travelers and commuters through Sparks.
It's a great time to live and work in the city of Sparks. You know, the Sparks Marina is truly the gem in the city of Sparks, and the city has so much to offer, so many unique venues and destinations for visitors and residents alike. In fact, recently, Nevada Magazine rated the city of Sparks as the most popular city in the entire state of Nevada, all because Councilwoman Julia Ratty had a birthday. Councilwoman Julia Ratty started it all on a whim.
I happened to be traveling out of the state, and so I needed something to read in the airport, so I went in and I grabbed a Nevada magazine, and I got to the article about their contest that they hold to see which town to feature first or feature next, and there was a deadline that was my birthday.
While in the airport, she posted a call to action on her Facebook page. Instead of sending birthday wishes, she asked her social media network to contact Nevada Magazine and place a vote.
And so I just quickly put it on Facebook and said, hey everybody, if you want to give me a good birthday present this year, please vote for Sparks for the Nevada Magazine tour, and we'll be featured. And people responded. Adam jumped on it as well, and we shut down their server. Everybody was so excited about Sparks and has that great community pride.
The publication's Tour Around Nevada campaign invited the public to vote for their favorite city or town. The public response? The city of Sparks, Nevada received the most votes for favorite city. Nevada Magazine focuses on travel and tourism throughout the state and has been published for 80 years. Publisher Janet Geary attended the mayor's 2016 State of the City address.
Sparks got a huge response for our March-April edition, and so they were our winner of our March-April edition. We have a really nice story in the magazine about Sparks, and we wanted to honor the mayor today.
The exposure is a great promotion for the city, but it's also something more. The overwhelming response from Sparks citizens says something important.
Well, it just tells people that the people that live in Sparks love living here. They love the community. They're very supportive of the community. And since we asked all the different cities to participate, and Sparks was just overwhelmingly the winner, it leaves us to believe that Sparks is very much loved by its community, by its residents.
People who live in Sparks love Sparks. They're not here because they have to be. They're here because they choose to be. And that just really came out in this story.
And that's it for this installment of Spotlight on Sparks. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter, or log on to cityofsparks.us for more news and information. State Senator Debbie Smith represented the city of Sparks since 2000. She was a tireless advocate for issues like education and a true champion for the city of Sparks. Senator Smith passed away earlier this year, and we miss her tremendously. We conclude our program in her honor.